This is WCPO 9 News.
Thanks for joining us for WCPO 9 News. I'm Tanya O'Rourke. Here's a look at some of today's top stories. More COVID-19 vaccine doses are coming to the mass vaccination site at Xavier Cintas Center. Governor Mike DeWine says the site will get 5,000 doses a week starting next Wednesday. The state will get a combination of Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, and Pfizer. Currently, the Pfizer vaccine is the only one authorized for people ages 16 and older in the United States. In Kentucky, anyone age 40 and older in the Commonwealth will be able to get a shot beginning Monday. And as neighboring Indiana announced its mask mandate will expire next month, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear said he plans to renew his state's mask mandate until it's safe to lift it. Ohio University is out with plans for its upcoming spring commencement ceremonies. All ceremonies will take place April 30th to May 2nd, rain or shine, at the stadium. The gates will open to the public 90 minutes before each ceremony. Students will also be able to participate virtually via a live stream. A stretch of Elm Street will be closed for more than a year starting Monday. Crews will need the space to demolish the former MILLENNIUM Hotel. The building will literally be taken apart since it's just too close to other buildings to implode. Elm Street's going to be closed between 5th and 6th Streets throughout that project, which is expected to wrap up next summer.
Hi there, I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Raleigh. We still will see some gusty winds and some clouds around for this Friday early on. Then mostly cloudy skies, temperatures in the 50s. Some spots, though, well, they may even make it to partly cloudy. A high temperature 61 for our Friday, but it warms going into Saturday. I have 72 degrees. Saturday night, a chance of a shower. A front comes through, so cooler on Sunday. And then into next week, seasonal weather, and that will describe opening day Thursday.
Hey guys, WCPO 9 News reporter Jake Ryle here. 297 days spent in the hospital with COVID-19. A Fort Thomas man is now recovering at home. It's being considered one of the longest COVID-related hospital stays in the country. And for the first time, we're hearing from Rick Henline and his wife for a story of faith, hope, and love. It all started on May 27th of last year.
He said, I just feel like I've been beat up.
Tedda Henline's husband, Rick, battling a fever, which only got worse.
And it was wheezing. And I said, we're going to the hospital now.
She remembers the trip to Christ Hospital like yesterday. Well, so it's almost been 10 months ago now. What do you remember most from the day you took him to the emergency room?
A nurse came out and got him and wheeled him back. And that was the last time I saw him for 53 days. Rick, intubated, put on a ventilator for more than a month. Tedda, unable to be by his side. You just literally have to say, okay, I can't fight this. And you put all your trust in a voice on the phone.
He's ultimately weaned off the ventilator and paralytic drugs as weeks turn to months of recovery. Holidays turn to their 30th wedding anniversary. With healthcare professionals holding Rick up, the two share a moment, an anniversary they'll undoubtedly never forget.
A nurse said to me, man, you really went through a lot. And I said, no, and I pointed to Tedda and I said, she went through a lot.
He says he got by because of the community's support, cards, prayers, phone calls, but mostly.
They're the heroes. You know, the health professionals that, you know, they go into where COVID is active and they help get those people through to return to their families.
Last Friday, 297 days after being admitted to Christ, the nurse who admitted him able to see his send-off at Highland Spring Healthcare and Rehab, and it was all by happenstance.
And I said, well, why are you here? She said, I'm just dropping off my grandmother's laundry.
They're waiting with kazoos and stuff. And as I walked around this corner, I walked into this cacophony of sound and everybody, you know, saying goodbye.
And quite special that they get to send the message back to that staff to say, job well done.
The fact Rick is alive, job well done indeed. Jake Ryle, WCPO 9 News.
I'm WCPO 9 News reporter Kristen Swilley. Cincinnati Mayor John Cranley wants to spend a portion of the city's $292 million in stimulus money on supporting and growing the Black-owned business community.
The eye-catching designs may draw outsiders in.
We have a lot of love for the city of
for the city of Cincinnati and the state.
But Originalities at its heart is a place about hometown pride and empowerment, something founder KESHIA Asabui needed last year more than ever before.
Initially, we were planning to open in April, and then the pandemic came. So, fast forward a couple months and we opened up in July.
She started the business itself 11 years ago, so she's been able to keep her storefront going. But she says many like her are in real need of support.
Help them stay open and provide them the resources that we need.
We're announcing today what I hope to be historic.
Mayor John Cranley joined leaders from the African American Chamber and the Urban League to discuss what he hopes will be an investment of $40 million raised over 5 years, with $5 million to start.
We have some very successful African American owned businesses in Cincinnati, and it's time to fill in the middle class.
Something needed, advocates say, because of the gap that existed long before COVID.
From 2012 to 2017, we had a 3% growth in white businesses. In the same period, we had a decrease in black businesses.
Cranley says he expects council to take 2 to 6 weeks to evaluate the idea, but believes the goal of doubling the economic impact of black-owned businesses is a good fit for a city trying to move forward. In East Walnut Hills, Kristen Swilley, WCPO 9 News.
The suspect in the Colorado grocery store shooting made his first court appearance on Thursday. 21-year-old Ahmad Al-Aliwi Alisa faces 10 counts of murder for the deadly attack at King Soopers supermarket on Monday. A judge ruled Alisa will stay in jail without bond. The judge hasn't set the next hearing date, but he says it will be another 2 months or so. Investigators are still processing the crime scene, and Alisa's attorneys say they need to assess his mental health. Scammers have apparently taken billions from a program set up to help small businesses during this pandemic. Analysis released Thursday shows the Small Business Administration shelled out $79 billion to fill possible fraudulent requests for small business loans. The vast majority of that money went to applicants with duplicate addresses, emails, and bank accounts. The loans and advances were borrowed from the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program. That program assists small business owners, nonprofits, and farmers who have suffered a financial hit due to the pandemic. Customs and Border Patrol isn't giving COVID tests to migrants in their facilities. That task is falling to non-governmental agencies and contractors. If a family tests positive, they are typically placed in quarantine by a non-governmental organization. Unaccompanied children are tested when they are transported to HHS intake centers. President Biden addressed the influx of migrants at the southern U.S. border on Thursday at a news conference.
There is a significant increase in the number of people coming to the border in the winter months of January, February, March. It happens every year.
Deaths from COVID aren't the only pandemic-related deaths researchers are focusing their attention on right now. A recent study found unemployment has led to tens of thousands of preventable deaths. For more than a year now,
my savings are exhausted. I'm in debt.
John Austin has been waiting for something, anything.
Sad that it's this way, is I'm relying on, like I say, family members to help me until that time comes. I mean, that shining light does come.
Last February, he lost his job and with it his insurance. He was denied disability coverage and then extended unemployment.
Again, I'm just trying to cope and survive until that time comes.
It has led him to a place of need researchers estimate has taken the lives of more than 30,000 Americans in the last year.
This isn't a trade-off between disease or the cure or lockdown. It's all of it hitting them together, and we really have to see it as that.
Alicia Riley is a postdoctoral scholar at the University of California, San Francisco, the group that did the study on the side effects of the pandemic, preventable deaths that emanate from the economic fallout.
Unemployment can have consequences in terms of stress and prompting substance abuse. It can prompt suicide, economic crises that push people to extreme measures.
37% of the American workforce is made up of people with a high school education or less, but the study found those people made up 72% of those 30,000 deaths. A disparity, Alicia says, shows the burden that is placed on rural communities or communities of color where help is less readily available.
Is it a real big fear that, something might happen and you won't be able to afford it?
Well, it's not a fear, it's a fact.
Take it from John. A diabetic, he lives in a rural part of Tennessee where healthcare, jobs, and help to pay for his monthly insulin are scarce.
People get their health insurance through their employer, and so if they lose that, it can cause an increase in other types of disease, such as cancer, heart disease, things that would be preventable if they were getting the care they needed on time.
I'm not one that's asking for a handout or anything.
John is not here for pity.
I just want people to know, just like I wanted you to know, that yes, I'm out here and I'm trying to do the best I can.
But to show that for millions, this remains the reality of the pandemic. I'm Dan Grossman reporting.
Small businesses are often called the backbone of the American economy. To help them get back on their feet during COVID, the federal government has been issuing paycheck protection loans to them. Now there's an effort to make sure women and small business owners from communities of color don't get left behind. Many brides-to-be dream of finding the perfect dress for the big day. But at Elite Secrets Bridal, COVID-19 shutdowns nearly turned LATONYA Turnage's small business into a nightmare.
I can't even put into words how scary it was as a business owner.
When COVID hit, weddings hit the brakes. Turnage wondered if her Baltimore bridal shop would survive. She heard of the federal Paycheck Protection Program loans, but
I didn't think that was something that I would even qualify for.
So far in 2021, more than 2.7 million PPP loans have been approved, totaling over $181 billion. The average size of a loan, $66,000. How that breaks down by race and ethnicity is an incomplete picture. It's up to small business owners to volunteer that information, and many choose not to. But of those that do, the disparity in lending is massive. To try to address that, the Biden administration recently set aside several weeks to prioritize PPP loan applications from small businesses run by women or people of color.
A lot of the smaller businesses in our disinvested communities have less resources, and they also have less banking relationships, and the banking relationship was very key in the PPP loan process.
Colin TARBERT is president of the Baltimore Development Corporation, the city's economic development agency. Their concern matches those in most mid and large American cities. Communities of color were falling through the cracks of the PPP. Their solution? Bring together a network of grassroots organizations to target them.
So we had people on the ground that had relationships with small businesses in their community to be able to act as validators for the network.
It was almost like a dream come true.
Among the 1,500 small business owners they've helped so far, LATONYA Turnage.
There were a lot of bills that were coming in, and the money that we received really, it saved our business. It really saved our business.
A business that she says is just starting to bounce back.
We were like, oh my God, this is what we're talking about. We're starting to get back into doing what we love to do.
By helping others fulfill their own dreams.
Back to saying yes to the dress.
In Baltimore, I'm Maya Rodriguez.
Gaming and esports are growing in popularity. One association is working to make sure everyone has equal opportunity in gaming and the esports industry as a whole.
So this is my monitor and then my LED keyboard.
This is Amani Daniels' gaming setup.
And then this is my box. I actually started out at 8.
She considers herself a gamer.
I got into League of Legends in my freshman year of high school, and I played that ridiculously. Like, I was addicted to that game for years.
And is currently studying cybersecurity in college.
When I was little, getting into gaming definitely influenced what I wanted to do when I went to college.
As Amani grew up and began playing games online with other users across the U.S. and the world, she started to get to know people and notice certain patterns.
Being a woman of color and being a gamer, I personally, it's rare that I come across a female in general, but it's even rarer that I come across a woman of color who plays games while I'm gaming.
That's something KESHIA Walker wants to change.
I started gaming 35 years ago.
KESHIA is the founder of the Black Collegiate Gaming Association, started last year and sparked by a visit KESHIA made to her 11-year-old nephew.
So we started showing me professional gamers and the schools he wanted to attend, and nobody looked like me, and nobody looked like him. And I said, Jackson, doesn't concern you? And he was like, no, Auntie KESHIA. He's like, gaming doesn't have a color. I said, that's great. I said, I wish the world was like you and your friends.
Women and people of color are underrepresented in the industry.
The numbers are sad.
Professional black gamers make up less than 1% of all professional gamers. When it comes to the esports industry as a whole, less than 3% of professionals are black, according to stats from the association.
But when you look at the numbers in terms of percentage of us that play, for recreational reasons and purposes, it's 70+% for blacks between ages of 13 and 24.
The association recently held Women Got Game, a virtual summit connecting college-aged women of color with others in the esports industry.
We want to start addressing those numbers as soon as possible and showing the industry that there are a lot of women out there that are interested and more importantly, qualified to play and work in the industry.
As Amani continues through college, she's playing a role with the association to help others like her see what possibilities are out there.
It's important to put the information out there to let other people know that it's possible and to know that something like this is achievable.
I'm Chloe Nordquist reporting.
Some Western companies are facing boycott in China. Sales of H&M, Nike, and other big brands are being impacted because of the company's positions on the alleged use of forced labor to produce cotton in some parts of the country. H&M said it was deeply concerned over reports of forced labor in the production of cotton in the region. A group linked to the ruling Communist Party recently posted the comment on a Chinese social media site. This handwritten job application may be worth more now than the actual job at the time. The single-page questionnaire was signed by Apple co-founder Steve Jobs in 1973. Wednesday, it was auctioned off for 162,000 British pounds. That's 222,384 American dollars. On the application, Jobs highlights his experience with computers and calculators. A year later, he joined Atari, where he met Steve Wozniak. They went on to create Apple in 1976. The rest, as they say, is history.
Hi there, I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Raleigh. As we look at your forecast here on this Friday, we're going to see some cloudiness early on and some gusty winds continue. We still could have some damaging winds before they start to settle and subside a bit as we head through this Friday. Now, what's happening is high pressure is going to start eating away the cloudiness. I think overall it's mostly cloudy, but we'll likely see some sunshine, and some areas could even turn partly cloudy by the afternoon. We'll certainly see some mild air as we head into tomorrow on Saturday. It's going to be nice with temperatures in the 70s. Saturday night, though, a cold front could bring us a few showers, so it's cooler heading into the weekend. Temperatures through our Friday will mostly be in the 50s, hitting 60, 61 as a high. In fact, I have 61 in Cincinnati, 72 Saturday, and 60 on Sunday. Then as we look ahead into next week, we're going to see some seasonal weather, and that fits perfectly for opening day.
Candle sales have surged during the pandemic, with the National Candle Association reporting some divisions of the candle industry seeing a nearly 34% sales increase.
Think about what people are craving right now, being cooped up in their houses, not really leaving a lot. They're looking for an escape. They're looking for a way to just relax. Candles, specifically fragrance, really does that for people.
Lisa McCarthy is the president of home fragrances at Newell Brands, the parent company of Yankee Candle.
We're here today in our manufacturing facility in Western Massachusetts, and our facilities here locally were shut down for several months.
State-mandated closures were just one of several challenges manufacturers like Yankee Candle have had to deal with while trying to meet the surging demand.
And then we had another challenge that we totally didn't expect, which was a labor shortage, a really widespread labor shortage.
Over the past year, they haven't been able to get enough people back to work and enough people interested. They've been down 15 to 25% of their workforce, while demand has been at its highest.
We tried everything. I mean, wage increases, incentives, referral bonuses.
And I think that people seeing the effort that went in to adhere to social distancing, all of the CDC guidelines really helped to put people at ease.
Tom Labelli works at the factory in Massachusetts and says what is helping the most to get workers back into factories is them seeing all the new health and safety measures in place and realizing the level of job security in this industry right now, especially compared to some other industries.
It's invaluable to know that you can wake up and that your job is going to be there and you just need to show up, you need to work. That should be considered heavily for anyone that's looking for any job.
In addition to job security, especially for skilled factory workers, some manufacturers have raised wages by 25%. Great for those in need of a job. But some economists warn about the cost being passed on to consumers. Manufacturers have already signaled a price increase for items like TVs, fans, and lighting fixtures, although not quite yet for items like these high-demand candles. I'm Alicia Nieves reporting.
America is on the road to recovery, but apparently America has some work to do when it comes to keeping that road clean and tidy. Some environmental activists and everyday people blame the ongoing pandemic for an increase in roadside litter and illegal dumping. People are tossing everything from PPE to food containers right onto the street.
We'll have it all pretty and green and it's gorgeous in the summer. Then there's a McDonald's bag or beer cans.
One man blames remodeling projects for all the trash in his neighborhood.
This is your dumping ground.
Even hiking trails are being used as trash bins. One hiker has been making videos showing how much trash he's come across.
To expect the city or the county or the state to pick up after us and to take care of this conservation that we should be doing ourselves is unrealistic.
People across the U.S. have organized cleanups or started campaigns to stop the littering. Some cities have increased surveillance or proposed fines. At the end of the day, everyone has an important role in keeping communities clean.